What's up, PokerBEASTs? Kato here, and today we're playing cards. Let's hit the felt.
Welcome back to the vlog, PokerBEASTs. Today we're doing a $300 buy-in. As usual, the first hand I look at is King Queen offsuit. I'm in the cutoff. I was just listening to Tommy Angelo's Elements of Poker on the card right here, and he says he plays the first hand no matter what. It's to help him establish his image for the night. And so I just took that a little bit too much to heart. The middle position player bumped it up to $14, and I'm going to put in the 3-bet. Let's make it 40. I typically don't advise this, especially with a marginal hand like King Queen. It could just be called, or frankly, at this point in my poker career, I think I could just fold it and it would be plus EV. But it folds around back to the original better, and he decides to make the call, $26. We're headed to the flop, heads up with $90 in the pot, and the dealer puts out 4 ace 6. I completely blanked, but this is where a solver would come in handy. I'm not sure who has the more aces in this situation, but since I 3-bet the pot, he could be raising with 9-10 suited and then make the 3-bet call. I'm going to go ahead and continue betting when he checks to me, $45, keeping the pressure on my opponent. If he doesn't have an ace, he's probably going to fold right away. If he does have an ace, he may have a kicker where he talks himself into it being a worse. When he makes the call, we're headed to the turn. Jack of hearts is placed down by the dealer, and when it checks to me, I'm going to go big. It's my very first hand that I've played. It's not likely, but I did pick up a draw to the nuts. I could be getting in over my head, but I like to continue putting on the pressure. I like to continue betting. I like to put ghosts, demons in my opponent's head. I want him to think that if he calls, he will lose a lot of money, and so I make it $100, $280 in the pot, and my opponent instantly folds. I'm getting off to a very strong and aggressive start. My opponents now know that I'm here to play. I'm scooping the very first hand that I've played in, and already I've added $95 to my stack, sitting at $395. I fold away some junk hands, and I decide to straddle on the button. I look down at 7-6 offsuit. It folds around all the way to the small blind. Who decides he wants to come along? He wants to make the call. The big blind takes a look at his hand, and he says $3 more. Why not? I'm not putting them on anything strong. I expect a raise if they did have something strong, but alas, we're headed to the flop. 3 ways, $18 in the pot, and the dealer puts out Queen 5-8. I flopped open-ended. I have the best position. My opponents haven't shown strength. Now, there are 2 clubs, so if the 9 or the 4 of clubs come, I might have to slow down, but the small blind bets out $20. The big blind makes the fold, and I have the option, do I want to raise or do I want to call? I think I'm going to keep it simple, just make the call. I still have position. We're going to see what the turn brings. It is the Jack of Spades, not a card that helps me. In fact, a card that hurts me. If the 9 comes, now I have to worry about a 10 beating me. But when it checks to me, I need to take over this pot. I need to take the initiative. I bet out $50. My opponent, who showed aggression on the flop, decides he's going to come along with the call. I'm not sure what he would call with that he wouldn't bet with. Maybe it's a flush draw. Maybe it's a queen with a bad kicker. Regardless, the dealer puts out the river. It's the ace of hearts. When my opponent checks to me, I decide it's time to pounce. This is the ultimate scare card. The flush doesn't come through. A bad queen could be on his heels, and I'm going to bet out $150. And my opponent folds right away. Once again, another bluff gets through. I'm not sure what's gotten into me. Usually I'm aggressive, but typically at the beginning of the session, I just kind of relax, see what's going on with the table. I think it may be influenced by the audiobook. The section I was listening to was talking about aggression, aggression, aggression. The next hand I look at is 8-7 of hearts. I'm in the cutoff, 479 in my stack. It folds around to the hijack, who's directly to my right. He's bought back in. He's missed a blind, and so he already has a little bit of money committed. He decides he's going to bet $12. I could 3-bet here, but I'm just going to make the call. The button makes the call. The small blind makes the call. It gets back around to the big blind. He decides he's going to come along. We're headed 5 ways to the flop, $60 in the pot. This is a signature of low stakes live cash games, is that the ranges are wide. There's limp callers. In high stakes, you either raise, you bet, or you fold. The dealer puts out the flop, 4-8-3. We have a backdoor straight draw, but more importantly, we've hit top pair. It checks around to me, and I think I need to protect this hand, thin the field. I bet $25. The button doesn't think for long. He decides he's going to come along for the ride. He makes the call. The small blind makes the fold. The big blind tosses his hand away. We're back to the hijack, the original better pre-flop. I think he probably has 2 overs, or he would have continuation bet. He makes the call. The turn is the 5 of clubs. We have now picked up a gutter to the straight. This is a beautiful card. We still have top pair. We have extra outs. It checks around at me. I'm going to continue applying pressure. Not too much pressure. $50. The pot's now $185. I don't want to put too much money in the pot. I've been thinking and learning about smaller bet sizing, and it's going to work. Both players fold, and once again, I'm scooping a pot. This time I had something, but it wasn't much. I have $500 $14 in my stack. I fold away a bunch of junk hands. I pick up a few small pots. My stack actually gets up to 577 until I finally look down at a beautiful suited ace, ace 8 of hearts. I'm in middle position, 577 at my stack, and the under the gun player decides he's going to bump it up to $6. I'm just going to make the call. I could 3-bet here. I'd much prefer to do it with a ace 5, ace 10, and ace with a straight possibility. The cutoff makes the call, the small blind tags along, and the big blind makes the call. We're headed 5 ways to the flop, $30 in the pot. The dealer puts out 5, 4, 6. There is one heart. I was just listening to an audiobook. I forget which one it was, but if he says that if he's drawing to 2 back doors, then he will take the initiative. He will bet. I'm drawing to a back door and a gut shot. I decided to bet $20. These are concepts that I really even never considered. They're very interesting to think about. Who knew that backdoors would be so powerful? The cutoff decides to make the call. Everyone else folds. We're going heads up to the turn, $70 in the pot. And the dealer puts out the 7 of hearts. Not only did I pick up a heart, but I turned a straight. This is the best card in the deck, and you can bet your bottom dollar. I'm going to be betting it. Not too much, though. I decide $25 is perfect. There are a lot of hands that could be interested in raising, and I'm trying to entice them. This card is also perfect for him to go all in. He takes his entire stack, shoves it into the middle, $70. I put him all in. He's got a few whites behind. I want them all. If they're on the table, they're in play. Maybe I should be a kind soul. Maybe I should say, no, it's okay. You just leave those behind. But he's trying to take my money, so I'm trying to take his money. He puts them in the pot. You can either put him in the pot or you can fold your hand. It doesn't matter to me. We're going to the river. He's all in, and the river is the 9 of spades. Yahtzee! I now have a 6-card straight. He flips over 3, 6 offsuit. He has the bottom end of the straight. It's no good. The dealer flips his cards in the muck, and he starts scooping me my chips. It feels great. Not often do sessions go bing, bang, boom. Make some room for my giant chip stack, but today seems to be my day. I'm on the button. I get pitched cards. I look down at King, Queen of Diamonds. What a beautiful hand. What a beautiful position. The low jack decides he's going to bump it up, make it $15. The hijack makes the call. The cutoff makes the call. And now I can complete, or I could raise. Of course, I'm going to put in a raise. I'm going to 3-bet $50. It's not a large 3-bet, but I have ultimate position. I have a fantastic suited hand. I need to get money in this pot. I need to thin the field. I need to play someone hopefully heads up out of position. Let's see what happens. The big blind decides he's going to toss it away. He does not want to be involved, but the pre-flop better. The low jack does not take long at all. It's only $35 more, and he throws them in. Who knows what he has? I'm about to find out, but with my position and my strong hand, surely I can take this pot even without the best hand. We're only going to find out once the dealer puts out the flop. She scoops in the pot. It's already at $134. She burns and turns king 10-7. I've hit a backdoor flush and straight. I have top pair with a fantastic kicker. My opponent checks to me. I usually put in a bet, but I decide to check. The turn comes the jack of spades. Now I have an open-ended straight draw. My opponent checks to me. The reason I checked on the flop is because I have to be developing a checking range. I have to be able to disguise my strong hands. So I'm looking for candidates to do that with. Top pair, good kicker with some draws. This seems like a decent board, and I bet $25. My opponent makes the call on the turn. We have $184 in the pot. We're going to the river. It is the 3 of clubs. The clubs come in. My opponent checks to me. I decide I'm just going to give up. I'm not going to get greedy. I flip over my hand, and it is good. My opponent mucks, and I am scooping a $184 pot. Beautiful. I probably could have gotten a little more value, maybe if I bet on the flop, maybe if I bet on the river, but I am trying to add some balance to my game. I can't just bet. People have told me I play straightforward, and so this is an opportunity to mix it up. I'm getting some beautiful hands tonight. The next hand I get is King Jack of Hearts. I am under the gun. Terrible position indicated by the red surrounding the under the gun icon. I decided to bump it up. My standard opening raise, especially from early position of $15. The low jack decides to come along. He makes the call. The cutoff, who I was just involved in the last hand with, makes the call. Everyone else folds. We are headed to the flop 3 ways, $49 in the pot. And the dealer puts out 9-6 king, 1 heart. I have backdoor hearts. I have a backdoor straight draw, and I have top pair once again. My kicker's not as good, and my position's not as good, but it's okay. We're going to navigate through this hand carefully, cautiously, but try to make some money. This time I'm betting out $25. I need to offer some protection to my hand. The low jack folds right away. The cutoff immediately goes for chips, and Stokely throws 25 into the middle of the pot. The turn is the Queen of Hearts, the perfect card I could see. I get the straight draw and the flush draw. A wonderful card. I'm going to continue betting, although I may not have the best hand. My opponent could have Jack 10, King Queen, King 9. He could have a set, but I need to put money in this pot. This is at the top of my range, and if I don't, then when will I? $60 is what I decide on. If my opponent calls here, I could well be far behind, but I can definitely catch up with the river. He makes the call. The river comes out, 4 of clubs, doesn't improve me, doesn't get me to where I need to go. I still have a top pair with a strong kicker. I'm going to check this to my opponent. I'm going to bluff catch. I don't want to bet again, inflating the pot, and have to decide when he shoves all in if I need to fold, which I definitely would. So I check to my opponent, and he wastes no time. He grabs a stack of chips. He says 125. He's putting me to the test, 344 in the pot. Now I have to run back through some options. He could have Jack 10. He would definitely float that on the flop. He could have King Queen. He could have King 9. He could have pocket 6s, pocket 9s. I'm not blocking any of these hands except for the holdings with the kings or possible straights. I did check to my opponent on the river, expecting for him to maybe take a shot at it, and I would call. That was the original plan. But he put out a sizable bet. It's about a 2/3 pot bet. I actually read recently that if you can't bet 2/3 pot on the river, you should just check. The value's too thin. I'm not sure if I agree with that, but it's definitely an interesting concept. I'm not sure if I'm going to call. I'm not sure if I'm going to fold, but I do grab a stack of chips. I'm sizing them up. I'm seeing his reaction. He is cool as a cucumber, unfazed. I decide my hand's too strong. I need to stick my plan. I make the call, and he flips over his hand. Usually when they flip it over that fast, they have something strong. Not this time. He had 10-8 offsuit. The missed double gutter. I flip over the winner, and I'm scooping the pot, dragging my chips back, and adding a bunch more soldiers to my army. This session's been fast. It's been furious. I've made some good calls. I've made some great bluffs, and I've gotten lucky. That's for sure. I look down at 2 black queens. I'm in the low jack. I don't see that there's a straddle on the pot. It wasn't announced. It doesn't matter. It's my fault. I bump it up to 15. I would have gone 25 if I knew there was a straddle. I am opening up the action. It folds around to the big blind. Who decides to make the call? We're going back to the button. Of course, he makes the call with basically any 2. It's only $9 more for him to call. $46 in the pot. 3 ways. We're going to the flop. The dealer burns, turns 9, 5, 6, a low board, but a connected board nonetheless. I think I need to put out a bet here, although maybe I should check. I'm really not sure. The more studying I do, the more I realize I don't know what the heck is going on. Option to the button. He makes the call. Option to the big blind. The big blind tosses on a green chip. He is coming along for the ride. 121 in the pot. The dealer puts out the 2 of diamonds on the turn. It's a safe card. Not much gets there with this card. And so I'm going to go ahead and continue betting. I wanted to check at the moment, and I decided I'm just going to go ahead and continue putting pressure on this pot. I don't want draws to get there. I bet $70, $191 in the pot, and this is when the button decides to spring his trap. He decides to make his move. He doesn't want to call $70. He doesn't want to fold. He wants to go all in. He rips it all in. $240. Mr. Green Chips kicks away his cards, and now the decision's on to me. It's 170 to call. The 431 in the pot. I do have a massive overpair, completely underrepresented in my opinion. The only problem is that what would my opponent be ripping it all in with? Especially on the straddle. I basically let him in the pot for free. He could have pocket 9s, pocket 5s, pocket 6s. I would imagine probably more towards pocket 6s, pocket 5s, or pocket deuces. I don't think he has pocket 9s. He may raise with that. He could have 9-6. He could have 7-8. He could have 3-4. He could have 5-6. He could have so many combinations of hands that beat me. It's a very difficult decision. I want to fold in my gut. I think I'm going to fold. And then I start doing what we all do so well. I start talking myself into a call. Well, it is only $170 more. I do have pocket queens. He could have pocket 10s. He could have pocket jacks. He could have ace 9. I put him on ace 9. How many combinations of ace 9 are there compared to pocket 6s, pocket 5s, pocket 9s, 8-7, 9-5, 9-6, 6-5? I make the call. We're headed to the river. It doesn't matter. I'm drawing dead. As he flips up 4-3, he turned his straight. The river is a 7. It makes no difference. I let 4-3 into this pot with my pocket queens for one reason, and that's because I didn't see the straddle on the button. That's my fault. I wasn't paying close enough attention. Even so, I still should be able to get away. But if I can't get away from the hand, at least I can get away from the table when I can tell that I'm a little frustrated from my decision-making process on that last one. I have a nice victory. I want to lock it in. I don't want to blow this money off from tilt, so I take my money off the table to the cage, turn it in to cold hard cash. I'm in for 300, out for 680 for a profit of 380. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've made it this far, do me a favor and drop me a like to help support the video or subscribe. Until next time, Kato out.